What is going on? Welcome to the YouTube channel. Today I wanted to talk about something that's really important to me, something that has a lot of value to me, and that's about building credit. About building credit, having good credit. How can you start building credit at a young age? How did I start building credit? How did I utilize credit to buy my first car, to buy a house, to get multiple different credit cards, to be able to book a hotels for free, book a flight for free with the rewards points, just different things you can do to utilize credit, and things I didn't know about growing up. I didn't know anything about credit. Nobody taught me about credit. And I learned about it when I was like 18 years old. And I was fortunate enough to have friends and things like that that knew about it, that helped me get into it. And I kind of want to share the information with you guys because it's just stuff that I didn't know about when I was growing up, and how credit can be utilized to purchase different things, property, what having good credit can do for you, just many different things that I can do and that you may not know about or may not be aware about, like I was. Like, I didn't know anything about credit or how to even get into it. So the first thing I would recommend is to get a college credit card, like a very low startup credit card. I think Discover has a college credit card, like or like a secure deposit credit card, where you start your credit there. You can just use it. They're going to give you a very minimal spending limit, like $500 or so, but you could use that and apply to those cards, or like just like the secure bank cards or whatever, the early startup credit cards, where you could just use it, apply for it, and you'll automatically get approved because it's your first credit card. They're gonna use it as your for the most part. I would just say just start with Discover. That's what I started with. There probably is some other credit cards that you could use and start with, but I started with the Discover student credit card. So, or even if you're not a student, I believe you can still apply for the Discover Cashback card, and you most likely will get approved for it. I would say do that. Another thing I would say do is, if you have somebody that you really trust that has good credit. Unfortunately, I didn't have like a family member or anything like that, but I built a good relationship with one of my managers at one of my jobs, and she was able to add me as an authorized user on one of her credit cards, and that boosted my credit exponentially. If you know somebody that has good credit and has a long history of credit, and they have had a card for like 10, 12 years, 8 years, however long they had, and they put you as an authorized user on one of their credit cards, then it can actually benefit you because it can give you the credit history of that credit card. Like, let's say I just started building my credit like a year ago, and I get on somebody's credit card that adds me as an authorized user to be able to have my own credit card and use my own credit card underneath their name as an authorized user. Then they had that card for like 8 years, and they put me as an authorized user. It will give me 8 years worth of credit history. So I will say do that if you're able to. If you're not able to, then just go build off one credit card, build that credit card up, and then slowly you can apply to get more credit cards. I would say the Chase Freedom Unlimited is a really good card to get into. That's one of the cards I have. I have the American Express. I think it's called the Cashback. I forgot which credit card it's called, but I have the American Express one. Actually, I think I have it here in my pocket. Let me see. Okay. This is the card I'm talking about for Discover, the Discover It card. This is a card I would say to get for your first card. And then I also, along the way, I've gotten other cards. I think this is the American Express. So this is the American Express cash card that I have. I have a Capital One Quicksilver card. I also have, what else do I have? I ended up getting a Chase Sapphire card like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, something like that, which is a really good card. And then I also have these other two Chase cards, the Freedom Unlimited and the Freedom Flex, which are both good cards. Here's the Freedom Flex right here. And I'll show you guys the Freedom oh no, that wasn't Freedom Unlimited, my bad. This is the Freedom Flex right here. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. I would say build your credit as best as you can. You know, honestly, just whatever you spend, know that you can pay the card back. That's what I would say. Whenever you're using a credit card, the credit card it's not free money. I feel like a lot of people mistaken that as like, oh, I get this free money, I get this card that has money on it, and I could just use it willy-nilly and not care about it. No, you have to pay whatever money you spend on the credit card. It's like a small loan. You have to pay that back. If you don't pay that back, it's going to go to collections. It's going to be a big thing. You're not going to be able to rebuild your credit easily. So I would say just know your limit. Spend within your limit. Don't go over your budget. Whatever you have in your debit account or your checking account or savings account, you know, don't go over that. If you have $2,000 in your checking account and your credit spending limit is $5,000, it would be wise not to spend $5,000 on your credit card, because you know you'll have $2,000 in order to pay back the money. You need $5,000. So that's all I'm saying. Be very smart with your money. You know, I would say, honestly, this is what I did. I just spent it on, when I was just building my credit up in the early stages, I was just spending it on, you know, food or things that I knew I was going to purchase that I knew that I was going to pay back, you know. Food, maybe I would get some clothes here and there, but just stuff that I knew I was going to pay back after a certain period of time. And I was also going to go into how I got my first car. So how I got my car with credit. My very first car, I bought it when I believe I was, how old was I? I believe I was like 21 or something like that, 21, 22, somewhere around there. I got it in 2019, so it doesn't really matter when I got it, but it was my first car. I didn't have a car prior to that. Like I said, I had built my credit out. I believe it was like a year or two of building my credit already, so I believe I was probably around like 20 or something like that. So I've only been building my credit for like 2 years. And I wanted to go get a car, so I ended up getting a brand new car, which was a 2019 Mazda hatchback. And I wanted to get the car, but I wasn't sure if I had good enough credit. So I built a good relationship with my store manager. She added me as an authorized user, one of her credit cards, and that boosted my credit all the way up like 20, 30 points, something like that. I don't remember exactly how much, but my credit shot up. Like I went from like a 700 or 720 credit score to like a 760, something like 770. And it was crazy. Like I went to the dealership, I got a quote, I got everything, like everything was good, and it lined up for my expenses, what I was able to pay. And the rate that I had gotten was like a 6%, or no, I think it was like a 5%, something like that interest rate on getting the car, which was not too bad for it to be my first car. Have built credit for like 1 or 2 years, you know, I would say it was not too bad. Compared to maybe what I would have gotten if I didn't get added as a user or built my credit, or, you know, been able to pay my credit cards on time and have no missed payments. So that's what I would say. Build your credit as best as you can. Don't miss any payments, because if you're planning on getting a car, if you're planning on starting phone service and you want to pay nothing down on a phone, or, you know, whatever it may be, a house, you have to have good credit history. And this is something that I didn't know when I was growing up, you know, because my dad and my mom, or, you know, who are family members, nobody taught me about this. So this is something I want to tell you guys, is build your credit. Make sure you build your credit. Make sure you don't miss your payments. Only spend on the credit card what you actually have in your account, in your checking account, or whatever savings account that you're able to pay back. Don't spend anything over that, because it's going to come back to haunt you. It's going to come back and bite you. I got a really big headache right now, but I gotta stay consistent with my YouTube posts, because I said I'm going to try to post every single day. So that is a big thing. I want to post every single day for you guys. I want to give you guys updates, life updates, any information that I know about, that I want to update you guys on. And this is definitely one of them, is building credit, having good credit history, having good money spending habits, financial habits. and just properly saving your money, man. Like, that's another thing too. Like, don't spend your money on things that you don't need. Don't spend your money on things trying to impress people. Of course, if you want something or need something, spend your money on that, but just make sure that it's something that you truly want. But that's how I got my car when I was building my credit. I got my car by building my credit up, being fortunate enough to have somebody add me as an authorized user on their account and boost my credit up. Went to the dealership, got all the paperwork and everything done. I knew what car I wanted. I wanted the Mazda 2019. It was fuel efficient, good car. I still have the car. And yeah, man, I paid that car off. That car has been paid off for like 2 years now, 3 years, something like that. And it was just a good experience. And then, my credit also helped me to open up my phone account, my phone service, being able to get my iPhone and not having to I only put taxes down, something like that. When you have good credit history and you build good credit history with the companies or whatever, you don't have to put much, if any, money down when purchasing the phone. And the good thing about your phone service is that it's interest free. So when you have AT&T, and I believe T-Mobile does it as well, you have interest-free payments, so you can pay for 2 years or however long you want to pay, and it doesn't accumulate any interest. It's just straight. You're just paying straight for the phone. Another thing is purchasing my house. When you purchase a house, you have to factor in your credit. You have to have good credit history because they take that into account. They take in your credit history. They take into account, I think they need your pay stubs. You need to have 2 years of having a job and a proven financial income, like where you're getting your money from. So I had to show them my pay stubs. I had to show them exactly how much I was getting paid salary, everything. You just have to have a proven record. And then you also have to have 3 months of reserves, I believe, for the mortgage payments. I do want to go into that later, my experience of owning a home, and if it was a mistake, if I should have kept renting. I don't know. I've had a lot of things going on so far with owning a home, the process of getting the home. I have had tenants in my home. So I have the building that I have a building. There's a first floor, a garden unit, and then there's a duplex on the top. So there's a second floor unit and an attic. I currently live on the first floor. So I don't know. Ever since I thought about getting a house, I always wanted to get a building, and I always wanted to be financially smart with it. So I wanted to get a building. I wanted to live in the building, and I wanted to rent out the other units so that it would be able to cover most of the mortgage, if not all of it. Currently, right now, I'm renovating the top unit, but that's going to be another story. I'm just going to talk about how the finances went, how everything went, and getting the mortgage. So when I did sign up for the home and trying to get a home, it took me a while to find the house that I want to find, because it's kind of hard. A lot of homes are really expensive right now. So it took a while scouting, finding the right home for me, finding something that didn't need a lot of work. And when I finally found it, I had to go through the financial process. Like I said, I had to show my pay stubs, I had to show everything, and then also they had to run my credit. So having good credit played a big role in getting the home, and that's kind of what I want to pass on to you guys, whoever's watching on the channel. Like, you have to build your credit. You have to have a proven record. If you go in trying to get a home, you don't have a proven good credit history, you're not going to get approved for the house. And that's just it. Or even if you do get approved for the house, you're going to get approved at a very, very atrocious rate, like 12%, 10%. Like right now, the lowest interest rates, I believe, are like 5-6%, 6, or maybe even 7%, something like that. But right now, I'm locked in at 6.2% on my home. And that's just from having good credit history, building my credit up, and just not missing any payments. And those are the things that you need to think about when you're applying for a credit card, when you have not even missed payments, but your payments and stuff is coming up. I would say set up auto pay. Be very financially smart when you're getting credit cards. If you have too many of them, make sure you're tracking down everything. Make sure you write down all the credit cards that need to be paid off. and take the appropriate steps to build your credit. And anybody can do it, man. Like I always say, I can do it, you can do it, anybody can do it. We're all human. If somebody else can do it, you can do it. Anything is possible. But that's all I want to leave you guys with today. If you guys have any more questions about credit or how to apply for certain credit cards, your approval odds, anything like that, how did I get started on building my credit and stuff like that, I think I went over it pretty well. But if you guys have any other questions or anything like that, anything that I missed, any other questions that you guys have, make sure to drop a comment below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Peace out.